Casey Lett from 352.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining today. I love that story about Goodwill. My sister's a Goodwill employee, and so just knowing the work that you guys do is amazing. All right, 352, we are an innovation and growth firm. We help companies do three things. That is find and engage new audiences, pioneer new ventures, and build new products, services, or business model. And so if you go to the next slide, we're going to be talking about new market expansion. This was an idea that came from our client, next slide, at Brightwell. And Brightwell, at the core, they're a financial services business that helps global workers get paid, as well as send and spend money safely and easily worldwide. The primary audience they serve are cruise ships. You think about cruise ships, I think there's about 130 different countries that are usually represented on a cruise ship, many underbanked or non-banked employees. And so prior to Brightwell existing, literally cruise ships drove around the ocean with millions of dollars of cash on board. So think about the risk as well as just the physical weight and resources that went into doing that. So Brightwell came in and created a business that allowed global workers to get paid, and then really a credit card system for them to move money home. The whole business of Brightwell, if I break it down to situation, behavior, and impact, the business problem was that in the cruise market, they began to see that they owned almost 100% market share. So as a private equity-backed company, there were growth pressures to say, if we're doing something next, what is that going to be? And for financial services, there's a lot of regulation that comes with that. And so they wanted to understand, was the bet worth making? That's where they brought us in. 352, the work we did with them was really around research, market discovery, and business casing. And the impact of our work at the end of the day is saved them a lot of money and a couple of bad decisions. So we'll get into that as we go. And as I'm thinking about people in the audience, you're most likely marketers, but you're also people tasked with strategy and growth. And so as you're looking at this case study, that's where I would say we really shine the best. So if we go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, Houston, we have a problem. We worked with their C-suite, so they're a growth stage company. They had a very regulated industry. They were fully capitalized on their current market. There were growth pressures because there was a plateau on the horizon, and being private equity backed, usually that isn't always a good thing. Opportunity was that there were market observations that they could take. If you think about the idea of global workers getting paid, that doesn't just pertain to the cruise industry. But they had this industry expertise. And so how could they begin to take that into other places? The need was, is this a desirable solution? And is it viable in the market? They needed to narrow and prioritize where to go fish. And then they needed to reach 2x revenue growth. So if we go to the next slide, the work we did together was first starting with executive alignment. Anytime you have investors or private equity backed, making sure that we had that was paramount. And so we worked with their executive team to say, what is big enough, right? If we are going after a new market. So we did an extensive rubric where we identified what markets were worth the pursuit. That was 16 weeks of research, 30 industries narrowed down to 4 target opportunities backed by qualitative and quantitative research and scoring. That gave us business tangibility, TAM, SAM, pains, gains, unmet needs. Next slide. At the end of the day, I'm going to power through us because I've touched on some of this, to the next slide, please. At the end of the day, the client at the end of it said, you guys did an amazing amount of work. You helped us understand that we couldn't plug and play our technology, and that would have been the investment that they made. It was really influential in deciding where to reevaluate the business and consider where they wanted to go. And if you go to the next slide, the outcome was that we saved the company hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of a potential misstep. And the clear expectations allowed for better investor conversations, whether with their current investors or with a new firm. We came back and did a D2C strategy with them. And so the work is still underway, but it's been really impactful, like I said, for saving them time, saving them money. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Casey. A question for you, Casey. How was the strategy executed via content and/or storytelling by Brightwell?
So Brightwell, at the end of the day, gets how they make money is the fact that you actually have to have employees transacting on this. They don't get paid by the cruise ships themselves. And so they had to build an employee engagement strategy on behalf of their B2B customer. And so by understanding that, it was going out to say, what is the actual need state? How do we go after this? And then on the other side, from an investor perspective, it was really the storytelling was around what is the market opportunity, right? If we're a $40 million company, it doesn't make sense to go chase a $2 million opportunity. We need to have a sizable enough market that we can capture. So the business process is still in place. It's not an in-market campaign, but that's how they were using that on the back end.
Thank you so much, Casey.